Hey, Kodiak here, and today I'm going to be doing a little bit of a follow-up to my training grounds guide and some new things I've kind of figured out, and just general pain points and how I've addressed them with the training ground system. To start out first, as a follow-up, I did end up getting into this body. One nice thing about assigning these stats to your body, and of course got full 120 and 90 skills on the skills that I wanted to use. This unlocked quite a few mastery options, so I have quite a few options between the various weapon skills, things of that nature. So this has been really good. But the really nice thing about it being on your default body is you can actually have a copy of your default body on both servers if you are playing in a private server cluster or the official server. Basically, when you get to the other server with a different character, once you get to the mask table, you can resurrect your body, and it will be a copy of the good stats that you copied to it. So that's quite nice. That's definitely something that's been very handy overall, in terms of being able to have accessibility of character stats on both servers. Um, I'd probably say the biggest pain point that I've addressed is the 6 talent problem. To kind of go over that is if we look at my original bodyguard template down here, body T, she has the 6 talents that I was looking for on a particular body. So we got blood conversion, blood absorption, last radiance, quick bandaging, resilient healing, and bloodbath recovery. I find the defensive and healing capabilities to be the most noticeable in terms of combat performance, whether it be against more difficult combat or easier combat. So with that in mind, I've tried to look for more defensive talents. The problem with having 6 abilities like this is you need to find a low level body that has one of these 6 talents to it, and you can certainly find that. So for example, you can see down here. This is one of the first ones that I found where it does not have a title, but it has, Battle Tested 3, it has Breath of the Wild Wolf 3, but then it started with Body Blood Conversion, which then adding on those other talents was relatively easy. So that's really strong, and really good, obviously, in that scenario. But the problem becomes is like if you want to actually find one, let's say like a better title. So this one has the Dauntless, which they can't dodge, but they can never be hit stun. That's really strong for an NPC because NPCs tend to get hit stun quite a bit. They also don't really dodge the abilities that they should dodge, such as like AoEs and otherwise. They tend to only really dodge like direct attacks when they're like 1v1ing like another tribe guy. But the problem is like trying to find one with that with a title, with a talent that you want, and all the other things matching, the negatives go away, everything's good. It's pretty rare. I've made hundreds of runs in the camp. I usually run at the camp about once a day while I'm playing, make sure that it's kind of cleared and down, and it's very, very exceedingly rare to find that. So you might want to open yourself up to the idea of taking other talents if they're good. So for example, this one has injury relieve, which is minus 9% damage taken. That's pretty good. I'll trade blood absorption for that. But now we run into the problem of you have to get all 5 of those abilities on, so the last one's going to come down to a 50-50 shot of you getting the one that you want. And as anybody who has good experience with RNG will tell you, is RNG is very streaky. So you can see here I've learned blood absorption multiple times that I did not want. I just want the other talent, and I keep losing the coin flip. So the way that I've addressed this is I've actually made a new body template that has 5 talents instead of 6. And this basically opens it up so that way I don't have to find like one of the 6 talents every single time. I can just find one that I can live with, and then maybe has other talents that will offset that, or other titles or other benefits that will offset that. So, for example, here you can see I have everything but blood absorption, and now when I train these characters, they will guaranteed gain this every single time. On top of that, I can now set it to auto train and gain the skill levels every single time, so that works out quite well. With that in mind, we have the characters down here, Weapon Master, great, but started with Onslaught. I can live with that. Onslaught will give you attack speed if you do a certain percentage of damage. This one started with powerful attack, 9% additional attack, great, and weapon master, more damage, more attack speed. And then we have another weapon master here, which has pen defense. So that one will actually bypass armor, which is very, very strong. So you can go ahead. This kind of opens it up and makes it uh, less of a crunch to find exactly what you need. And instead, now you can just find a title that you like, and then it starts with a skill that you like, and then you can put the other 5 skills. And that's really, to on that topic, you don't really need a ton of guys. I mean, if we're being honest, you reach a point where if you have, depending on your settings, I believe the default setting is 1 character. But we have it set to 2, so that way blue crystal farming isn't so terrible. There's other ones that the old default used to be 3, so that's only 3 guys you can bring with you, and that you would have to set up, that you would have to be good bodies, because you're not going to really go out with like other ones. The only scenario in which you would really need these other characters, or otherwise, if you're going to put them up on like a ship or something, and that's kind of why I'm doing it, is I like the idea of being able to take a ship, go land somewhere, have them not really deploy out, but just be close by, and then not possibly engage in combat because other things are engaged in combat around them. That sounds like a really kind of like cool idea of having like a little ship crew that'll go out and fight. Alternatively, as I experiment more with the hunting grounds, a lot of things, there are actually quite a bit of factors that play into how well they perform in terms of the characters. So if I have characters that are decked out in gear and have combat skills and have these things, the percentage that they contribute towards these little adventures and whatnot that they go out on are actually much higher. So I'm still collecting data on that, but that's definitely something where I might want characters who are pretty badass that can not only defend the base, defend the ship, but also be really good on adventures and do things of that nature. On that topic, in terms of materials, the hunting ground, I did a separate video on this. The hunting ground has been fantastic at maintaining equipment. There are certainly items out there. For example, we get claws from these ancient ruins over there that are just, it's been fantastic for maintenance. Every couple of days, I go ahead and I just basically put a couple of crews on that. They go over and they run it, for about a day, and they come back with like 1,000 claws. So then I can do like another like week of training or so. So that's been fantastic. Same thing with leather. Like I believe in that training grounds video, I was completely out of leather. I let them run it for like a couple of days, and now I have literally hundreds of alligator carcasses for that. So training grounds, they are only available for dedicated private servers and single player. They are not available on official servers. It is not a mod. It is something built in the game, and hopefully they will implement it in the future for the official servers as well. So that's been wonderful. The other thing that I found is that Aloe has become a huge problem when I have all 4 training grounds running pretty much 24/7. They annihilate plant essence. Even going higher to the hemogenesis creams, or even the coagulation creams, they use multiple plant essence each one. So it does add up to be quite a bit. It's one of those things where I've had to manually go out and mine aloe a couple of times. I also have a small base on the other server where I have it actually set up near a couple of large trees. For those who don't know, aloe grows around these large trees that you get sap from. On this map, this is what they look like. There's quite a few trees over there, and I typically will just periodically go over and do like a run. Just go over there with a scythe and basically just go and clear this, and I get a couple hundred aloe flowers from that. It's really the flowers that will get you more than anything, because you need 1 aloe flower per essence, and again, you're just going through hundreds of essences making the plants. That is a reason to have dedicated and highly specialized workers and alchemists and otherwise, is to make sure you're always proccing extras as possible. I have also used, you can see, for example, right now, this might actually be a little bit slow because it might be a little bit cold. Nope, or the right temp. But I have actually had to go ahead and turn this to gear 1, and then you do a cooling table with enough distance to actually go ahead and keep these growing at maximum speed at all times. And then I have another setup over here for that as well, where we have more aloe at this these 3 farmlands to keep these going at full speed as much as possible. So definitely something to consider is make sure your Aloe pipeline is pretty good. If you're going to be setting up enough training fields, like I have 4 pads. Usually all 4 of these are in action, but like right now I've been running the hunting grounds, testing out some of the other dungeons, such as like the Talc dungeon and things like that. So the usual coaches that I have are actually not training anybody and making their skills 120. So. But those are the things I've kind of learned. It's been pretty good once you get it set up. Like I said, going to the 5 body has been by far the best decision overall. It's made everything a lot more simpler. You don't have to deal with as much amnesia potions or otherwise. That keeps the RNG mostly to that first body and making sure that first body has all the things that you actually want and need on it. And then maybe like a training body is the same thing. Like, again, you get another kind of RNG setting up the training body, but then once those 2 are set up, you don't really have to worry about the RNG and amnesia potions anymore. So that's about it. Thanks.